Hello, I'm Alexandra Waltorn, the Communications Officer here at the International Institute for Educational Planning. I'm here with Peter Muzawazi from the Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education in Zimbabwe during the National Education Accounts International Seminar, which is part of a collaborative project with the UNESCO Institute for Statistics, IIEP, IIEP-Pôle de Dakar, and with support from the Global Partnership for Education. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you very much.
So first of all, I wanted to ask you, why is it so important for ministries of education to develop a national education account?
I think first and foremost, each country has a strategic plan, a sector plan, which usually runs for about 5 years, which is the case for Zimbabwe. And you want to ensure that you accomplish the objectives, of that plan. Mm-hmm. And it's critical to be able to identify your source of funding and the flow of that funding to the provision of the service, looking at the various levels and the various critical functions that you will need to achieve with your plan. And the national education accounts, we have found them very useful in that they are able to provide good evidence of where the finances are flowing and to what extent we are achieving our objectives.
Mm-hmm. So you've been looking primarily at government spending since the project began in 2013. Can
Correct.
You give us kind of a quick snapshot of some of the main findings, whether there have been any surprises perhaps in the analysis?
Yes, I think some of the major findings relate to the objects of expenditure, where we have found through the NEA that well above 90% of the education budget is going for salaries, thereby leaving very little room for operational expenditure. We've also found in terms of equity in the distribution of teachers, that especially at early childhood development level, the majority of teachers tend to be concentrated around urban areas and much less in the rural areas. And in Zimbabwe's case, early childhood education only became formal in 2004. Mm-hmm. So it's a new area where we don't have 100% teachers yet at that level, but the system is training many teachers. But the deployment indicated that there is no equity, and the NEA accounts, provided sufficient evidence on which already policies are being developed to ensure that we address that.
Mm-hmm. So do you foresee these findings having an impact on resource allocation in Zimbabwe?
In Zimbabwe, definitely yes. One unique thing I may want to share with you is that the minister was able to get some space, within the busy cabinet schedule to get a slot to share, some of the findings. And, when you're in cabinet, the Minister of Finance is there, and if your principal, the HE of the country there, who is himself a renowned educationist and very warm to education issues. And this is why you find currently that Zimbabwe has 29% of the national budget going for education. Mm-hmm. But we still would like a little more to make sure that we create space, fiscal space, to fund non-salary expenditures.
Mm-hmm, of course. And how can national education accounts be linked to improving learning outcomes?
I think clearly there is a direct link in terms of the availability of teachers to the system. Mm-hmm. If the deployment is not equitable, you will find that those areas that may not have qualified teachers or the best teachers, will continue to have challenges in terms of the quality of learning achievements.
Mm-hmm. And so when you return to Zimbabwe after the seminar, what are some of the first steps that you'll be doing to ensure that momentum stays and you continue to develop national education accounts in Zimbabwe?
I think one thing I may want to say is initially our Minister of Education had requested that we join the full National Education Accounts program. But I think we had been beaten to it by 2 other countries. And then we opted for the public resource allocation. And for us it was a good second option because it was concentrating on equity and efficiency, which are critical areas. But from this exercise, from the lessons that we have learned from Uganda and Nepal, I think it is clear that our initial position, where we wanted the full national education accounts, we take it forward. And we're looking at committing national resources and also perhaps looking for partners and expertise, to be able to have the full national accounts. I think about that one, there is full commitment, and we are aware that our principals will be able to support us.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you very much.